Alrighty. Last time we left off, we had just got back from drugging and interrogating Effie's nemesis, Dr. Ignacio Cueva, something like that, where he did get confession about essentially selling out his friend and taking all the credit due to interest of the sponsors or the investors, where Effie's father was not quite giving in, so Dr. Ignacio Cueva had to make a judgment call and chose the wrong choice, but in some aspects the right choice. Depends on the perspective. Also, Sean Dublin sent out a slander campaign against Cueva.
So only slander if it's not true.
Some of it was not true.
Some of it was creative.
We did have a whole conversation about this last time.
We did. I remember only bits and pieces of it.
AP was very defensive of his version of the truth.
I think that's all that really happened last. It's been a few weeks since the last time we met due to a lot of reasons.
We brought Julius Robo Caesar back with us.
Yes, you do have Julius Robo Caesar, who's been I know have been tinkering with the plane, not in the good way.
Yeah, a constant effort to stop the plane from dying around him.
Yeah. No, I think that pretty much sums up last time. I think it was a short session in general, but now we are going to be skipping forward a bit.
Oh, I did also secure an internship for Effie.
Yep, we're going to be getting
with Dr. Cueva if she wants to take up on that to continue to torture the guy.
That's going to be part of the time skip, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going through one by one with people, doing bits here and there. So, before that, does anybody have any questions that need to be answered, or any other reminders?
I hope not. I don't remember if I have another one.
Yeah.
Okay. So first one, we're going to actually go with Montre here.
Oh.
So after the excursion of the Elm Tomb that you originally put in guard of, you actually start getting visions on occasion, ever so often. The major details of which are fuzzy, like you can't quite access the memory, but it's there. The best that you can tell is that you and another soldier are accompanying what seems like two different figures that are talking. And what they're saying is mostly inaudible, only bits of here and there about time is running out or finishing preparations quickly. Then a certain point, an explosion is heard right before the vision cuts off.
Interesting.
So you can attempt a common knowledge roll if you'd like to see if you can access more of it.
Second. That's a different button. Common knowledge. There we go. Smarts. Not my best.
Okay. That's a 4, so it's success. Do you want to try to get for higher with a Benny?
That's a 4, and I rolled a 4. I think I'm going to let that ride.
Okay.
My percentage is a 6, but
I will also let you keep in mind that you can re-roll it and keep the better of the two.
yeah, we'll go for it.
I'll choose to ignore critical failures this time. Okay, so 4.
It's the same as X.
Okay.
Almost exact. No, it was exact.
Yeah, the D4 is a little bit different, but still. Okay, so you're able to gleam in a little bit more of the vision this time, but you can really only hear the conversation that goes on. Everything else is still fairly fuzzy. First figure speaks out, kind of worried with a worried, concerned voice. Time is running out. We need to finish preparations for our evacuation. The figure turns ever so slightly, but with a calm, steady demeanor. Be still. We have the time we need. The triangle will hold long enough for that we can finish. Figure 1 speaks. I find it hard to see where your confidence comes from. We've been in the losing side of this rebellion for some time now. The second figure rebuttals. Patience is needed. The defeat we may suffer will only be temporary. We have what we need to rebuild and take everything back. Then the explosion happens as the vision cuts off. So every so often you'll be able to attempt to gleam into more if you'd like.
Okay, sounds cool.
As the more you go on, the more bits you'll get.
Of course.
Anybody you would like to converse, or just leave it be to keep it to your own thoughts?
I think you would share that for sure with the professor, the NPC, just because, he treats him almost like a human journal for that. He's like, and then I think I saw this. And I don't think he really shares during the time skip with anybody unless anybody's sharing with him. Like I don't think he's a little more spontaneous with that information than actually like, I will go tell Effie this. She must know type situation.
Yes. So the doctor's very curious about it. He can glean that this is some sort of memory that you might have, as you can guess that yourself. He is curious if you would maybe think that you can recognize who the voices were, either someone that you knew personally or...
I think that's one of the things Montrese is trying to figure out for himself too, is one of those voices mine Or was I just someone watching these two talk?
So I'll tell you that you can definitely tell that it was you watching the two talk. Best guess for the way you can deduce that is that you're having like one of you essentially watching them as like bodyguard duty.
Possibly the current frame or a previous version that he was in type of situation.
Mhm.
That makes it more interesting. That's really nice. That means I was like this before everything went to crap. But why did everything go to crap? And what crap was it? What rebellion? I don't remember any of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Very nice. I like that.
All right, Carl. We cut to you Christmas Day. Maybe Christmas Eve. Brother got your letter about visiting for Christmas. He'd invite you to his vacation home, essentially in Western Germany.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go.
Did you just take a flight service or a taxi service over to there, or do you take the Catalina?
The Catalina is armed at this point. It doesn't really matter.
I mean,
It's
you could
35.
take the guns off.
Yeah, I'll take the Catalina.
Okay, there's probably enough. There's enough land for you to land near his abode, not like right next to it, but close by. When you get there, seems to be a fairly nice cottage sort of home. Definitely not built anytime soon, but probably within the last maybe decade or two. When you make it down, obviously it's not hard to miss a plane flying near your house and landing nearby. You do see your brother outside to greet you. He's not dressed in his military uniform, but kind of in a slacks with sweater combo. Air's a bit chillier.
Carl has put some effort in. He's not wearing the fancy clothes from Sean's purse, but he's also not dressed like a grease monkey right now. A nice Christmas sweater.
Right. Brother, it's good to see you. Please, come
It's been a while. I'm glad to be here.
in. Yes, I see the plane is still in good shape. I'm surprised you're able to afford it.
Well, I have a contract and it pays well for the plane.
Oh, I see. We should talk about that a bit more. First, come inside. Let's warm up by the fire.
Yes,
So he'll escort you inside where there's not really. It's a very basic abode. There's not a whole lot of furniture and stuff around. Maybe like a table here and a coffee table, small chair, small couch. Yeah, the basics of a single bachelor man in the military who's not going to be there most of the time. But it's very homey, very homey. He'll tell you that you can have a seat, and he'll get out essentially a couple glasses of what's a very German drink.
get some
My
warm beer.
friends, it's Christmas. You're drinking Glühwein.
Glühwein?
Glühwein.
Glühwein.
I'll get it for you.
What is Glühwein? This is out of my own curiosity now.
The German Glühwein. This is real for the folks at home. You can look it up.
I 100%
Delicious.
believe you.
They serve it hot in the
Yes, with cinnamon and oranges.
I don't know what it is. I just remember it was
Wine.
delicious, and they sold it in all.
I mean,
the
it's
spots.
sick as hell. All right,
Looks
so
like-
it's mulled wine. Usually it's red wine, and then it's got cinnamon and orange peel, actual oranges, orange juice. I think normally people put they like cut it with shots of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, it says here that they cut it with rum. Cloves, star anise. This is actually the first time I've heard of star anise being used in it, but I'll assume that's correct.
Interesting.
Sugar,
It does sound
Yeah.
delicious.
and it's only served at Christmas, by the way.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Holiday drink.
Gives you a nice
This motherfucker's
glass of-
like, oh, what kind of drinks are the Germans serving at Christmas? And I'm like, you know what? There's literally a drink that Germans only drink at Christmas.
Good job.
They drink Christmas drink.
Basically.
Yeah, so he gets you a glass of Glühwein and takes a seat in the chair. So, little brother, what have you been up to?
I've been taking the opportunity on the contract I'm working. I've been able to get some traveling in, which has been kind of nice. I am planning to take a trip to Italy in the spring.
Oh, what brings you in Italy?
Met a girl.
Ah, how lovely. Things seem to be shaping up down there, and actually, so it might be a pleasant visit.
I'm hoping so. I'll make it. I'll have a good trip in any case. I've been trying to keep things a bit busy. Stay on my toes a little bit.
Do you perhaps plan on coming back to the fatherland full time at some point soon, or still undecided?
I think once this contract is done, there won't be anything owed on the Catalina at all. I'll have a lot more freedom. I think I'm still going to be the wandering type, but I just enjoy seeing new places. But I'll have to have somewhere to come back to, that's for sure.
I see. Have you been keeping up with politics from the homeland?
I have. I have to admit, I know the politics weren't ever as important to me as they were to you, but with you being as involved as you are, I've been paying more attention than I thought I would. It's good to keep. It feels like the more I know, the more I know about what may or might not be happening with you.
Yes, he's been very active, but it seems to be in good sight for the country, though some things he seems to be a little misguided, apart with the main part being of the bringing back the Aryan race, the master race, that sort of thing, which he's got the right set of mind, just not necessarily the right place. He's looking to face value, more so need to be looking for the things of the unknown.
Things of the unknown, huh?
Yes. I don't know if you remember the bedtime stories that mother and father told us at night.
You know, in traveling, I think the world is trying to tell me that I should go back and make sure that I remember everything about those stories. I've seen some strange things.
That is a wise decision, and perhaps you'll find out that they apply to you a little bit more than you expect. Though not as much as, well, you would expect.
The world's certainly become a stranger place since I've been going around. But why do you bring up the stories?
I've been curious if you've been noticing anything different about you as of late.
I suppose I have. I don't know if it's all in my head or not, so I haven't tried to have this conversation with anybody. But well, I suppose if anybody's going to understand whether or not I'm just if I'm seeing things wrong or not, it'd be you.
The simplest way I could put it for now, until you fully realize, is that we quite literally come from a different breed. Not this master race that the Feeler wants to bring back, but something else.
I remember hearing about it, but not believing it. But I don't know. With some of the things I've seen lately and some of the things that have happened to me, things that I've survived, that it feels a bit beyond just luck to be alive. I don't.
What kind of adventures have you been getting to that you've been trying to just survive?
Well, the terms of my contract say that I can't say much about my employer, but I've been trying to stay. I thought when I picked up this job that I was going to be picking boxes up and putting boxes down somewhere else and getting paid quite good for it. But apparently my responsibilities also include getting off the plane, and that's where the weird begins.
Ah, well, how long are you going to be staying here?
Well, I've got a month before I'm needed again, and I would like to enjoy the welcome that you have to give. I don't want to overstay, of course. I'm not expecting to be here the whole month. I know you're probably very busy, but if you're here for a week and you're willing to have me for the week, then I'll stay the week. A week and a half.
Absolutely.
You tell me how long you would like for me to stay.
Stay as long as you need. I don't need to be back for about maybe a couple months.
Oh, well, I'll definitely have to leave before that, but
Of course.
it would be nice to catch up.
In the midst of your stay with him, you can essentially converse with him about the old stories and whatnot. And if you'd like, I think you have a cult.
Yes, I
If I
do.
remember correctly. You can roll for your occult to see what you might be able to glean by his vague description about being a different breed.
It's only one success. I'll spend a Betty. See if I can get better.
No.
Okay, well, I guess taking that first roll then.
So what you can glean by what he said is your bloodline is different, almost muddled in a way. And it seems to be mainly from your father's side.
He thinks that we're from our father's side, we're the inheritors of something unusual.
Yes.
Does he get at all specific about what that unusualness is?
And he'll ask you certain questions about. Man, I'm trying to think of a way to give hints without giving it away. But it's such an easy thing to give away.
So, I mean, at the very least, like, Carl would be interested in talking about some of his, not necessarily the weird stuff he's seen, but the weird things he's noticed about himself.
So pretty much he
It's
would
just
ask
sort of
you,
like
have you
observation.
noticed like different sense of strength, sense of speed, different, maybe more resilience in some matters,
Yeah,
almost to a supernatural, what would be from typical human degree.
He'd mentioned that the piloting is really easy for him, and he's he does seem to have a level of coordination that he tries not to exhibit around other people to avoid uncomfortable conversations. And he's definitely noticed that he's gotten beat up a lot, and he has survived things that he doesn't think he had any business surviving.
I'll have you do one more roll.
Okay.
Give me a notice roll for the meantime of your visit. You want to spend your last penny on that?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. 5 and a
Okay.
5. Okay. So he doesn't mention anything of it, but he is looking at certain areas of your body, trying to inspect to see if something there, like your arms or your ear, your neck. But he does that for a moment, doesn't see anything, and just kind of looks away. You can glean that.
Does he share that he has any unusual experiences as well?
Essentially, he'll share about the same that you did. That you notices that he's a bit more faster reflexes, able to act a little bit more resilient than typical.
Well, Carl feels a lot better.
The flying thing doesn't really apply to the situation.
Yeah, he doesn't fly in his day job anymore. But yeah, Carl feels much better about this. It's not just him, so it's not just in his head.
Okay.
We're in your head, Carl.
All right. Let's go with Harlen. I'm going to do something a little bit different. Get Harlen backstory. The mysterious espionage man that hasn't really had any lore to shine. So, interestingly enough, you've been in the England area for quite some bit. Eventually, due to get a call from an old friend back in the States, Tony Sampson. He used to run jobs with you with the mafia back there when you were doing your crime thing. Now, again, this is the butler telling you that a Tony Sampson is called for you. You can elect to not answer it, or you can leave it.
Harlen, just being kind of unoccupied and bored at the moment, decides, might as well, and will go get the phone.
Harlen, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good. How you doing, man? Hadn't seen you in quite some time. Haven't heard from you. What been up to?
I'm doing all right. Got a new gig. It's strange, but it's keeping me occupied.
Good to hear. I was surprised you didn't get put in the slammer last time, but that's good to hear that you got out. Hey, I was curious. Would you, the boss has something new to come on the plate. Would you be interested in it?
I got lucky. But what do you mean new? What do you have in mind?
The boss has a job lined up. Be good. You could use your expertise if you're interested. Good lump of cash for it.
How long? I'm free right now, but we're always getting busy here at Rin.
Maybe, I don't know. It'd probably take you a couple days to get down here to back at stateside, and then maybe a couple more to do the job. I don't know, probably about a week or two.
They can live without me for a week.
So is that yeah?
Yeah. Where should I meet you?
Back at the old speakeasy. You know the place.
Of course. See you there.
All right, that hangs up, and you make your preparations to get over there, which again takes about maybe, I didn't do the math on it, but I'm going to say it only takes you a couple days to get back stateside, which is eventually the old speakeasy. It's about like how you remember it, where you left it, when you got thrown out and beaten to a pulp due to whatever reason. At the door, there is a bouncer that kind of eyes you a little bit, then kind of not recognizing you at first, and then realizing who you were, eventually just opens steps aside for you.
Harlen will just nod and then just move past him without a word.
Yeah. You skip past all the bar and the tables in the front part, as in that's not where you're interested in. Where you make it to the back rooms where Tony Sampson, this little squirrely, blonde-haired, really only keeps like slacks, pair of decent-looking shoes, and a button-up shirt, is there standing by the door. Harlen, you looking good, man. Better than last time I saw you.
Hard to be looking worse. Looks like the place is still standing, at least.
Always is, always will be, you know that. It's a great place for the boss to do his business, if you know what I mean.
Who are you talking to, of course?
All right, the boss is waiting for you inside.
Gotcha. And Harlen will go in or follow him in, whichever.
Yeah. He'll open the door for you to be courteous, let you go first, and he'll follow suit, shutting the door behind him. Inside, you see essentially the boss man, this gentleman looks like he lives larger than life, wearing a nice suit, big cigar in hand, multiple rings on his fingers, just because. Currently, he's playing a game of cards with his two bodyguards. Your boss's name is... Oh boy, where did I put that?
Harvey Specter.
Harvey Specter? I feel like it's a reference to something. I can't remember what it is at the moment. Two-Face? No, that's Harvey Dent.
Character from Suits.
I didn't really watch Suits. His name is Danny Vincent. Danny will kind of take out a cigar and put it into the ashtray, putting it out temporarily. As he sits down in the car, turns to look at you, is like, Harlen, it's good to see that you're back.
Mr. Vincent, good to be back. Nice to visit.
I apologize what happened back there when last time you were here. Unfortunately, it's probably due to the business, but I do have a nice job for you lined up. I suppose you're interested, the reason why you're here.
Don't mention last time. Seriously, don't. Yeah, heard you had some sort of job.
Yes. I just got a simple task I need you to do. The new commissioner in town been getting his nose into spots where he shouldn't. I need you to do your thing, go in, plant some evidence against him, so we can get him out of town. Capiche?
Easy as pie. If I find anything else you can use, I'll be sure to bring it. Might be nicer to have a commissioner in your pocket.
That's what I like to hear. Good. Alright, I don't need to tell you how you need to do things. You do what you need to do. My boys will get you the information where you need to go. The rest is on your hands.
I know the job. I never do you.
Beautiful. He then just nods to the boys and they'll get you what you need. Essentially, they'll hand you a briefcase and they'll hand you a note with the address and everything that you need to know.
Harlen will nod, take it, and head out towards the door.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Likewise. Once you take everything and be on your way, the address of the note takes you to the apartment complex that the commissioner's kind of staying at. It's on the nicer side of town, obviously enough. His apartment appears to be on like the 5th floor corner spot where you can see the intersection at. So good view. The location is a little bit harder than typical to get to because it's not quite readily available for the fire escape, but it can be managed. Commissioner is relatively new, probably just started right after you essentially got caught and put in the slammer, almost doing federal time. Apparently, as of late, he's been kind of snooping into the things of the mafia and different other gangs that are in town starting. You told me how you want to approach this. I need to stop using that voice. That's infectious.
Harlen's first, gonna wait outside. Is there like a cafe anywhere nearby?
More than likely, at least one. Probably about a block or two over.
Make sure that the commissioner leaves first.
Of course. Buy a cup of coffee, sip on it for 8 hours until they kick you out. Standard protocol.
You know, I bring a book to make it look like I'm reading.
Of
you know,
course.
those kind of people.
Of course. So he does eventually leave for the day. It's usually the standard 9 to 5 hours during the work days. Except for a couple times where, like after he gets home, maybe an hour or two later, he might have to go back to the office for something due to an emergency or something coming up.
And you said apartment building?
Yeah.
And how many stories is it? Because he's on the 5th floor. Is he like on the top floor or?
There's like 7 stories to it, so.
Okay, then.
So you could either go in through his front door. You could maybe scale the side, go up the fire escape and scale the side of the building, or you can kind of maybe go to the top and climb your way down. A few options for you.
Yeah, just going to go straight through the front door because he's just going to try and act naturally. And if the front door, like not to his apartment, he's going to definitely lockpick into the apartment. But hopefully, the front door of the building is unlocked.
Oh, okay. You mean like I get what you mean. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, like buzzers where they have the front door locked until somebody buzz you in, or you have the special key.
Yep.
I don't know if they had that at this period of time, but I will probably say that they definitely might have like the special lock because this is a nicer apartment complex, to where that not everybody could just go into the building. You have to have the key to the building.
Yeah, because if there is a key for the building, he'll just lockpick it.
Okay.
Actually, let's change it up a little. He's going to actually try and wait for the next person to come out and try and pickpocket them.
Okay. Yeah. That either way, I'm pretty sure it's thievery.
Yeah. I'll just give it a little more flavor.
Now I'm just running all those videos of people pick locking easily the master lock, what everything.
Lockpicking lawyer, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the lockpicking lawyer.
Oh, I'm going to use a Betty.
Okay, 4. That's better than the 2 and a 3 that you rolled last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to just easily, wait for the guy. Maybe it takes you about 30 minutes for someone to come out. Then eventually you just swipe the key out of their pocket without them noticing. And you're on your way up. Nobody seems to be alarmed that you're there. Either everybody's inside or at work or just be on their way to leaving work, not really paying any mind to you.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you get to his door.
Well, this time is just straight lockpicking.
Okay, another thievery. Oh boy.
Benny again. Using Mo early.
There you go. Okay. You're just lucky it wasn't a critical failure the first time.
Yeah.
You had a 1 and 2, not a 1 and a 1. But 6, yeah, definitely. It takes a little bit longer than you're expecting, a little bit better lock than you're typically used to, but you eventually do get it popped open, and you're free to go inside.
Owen will close the door, walk behind him, and start looking for. Well, first he'll let you start. Looking for anything like files, keeping an eye out for anything that might be incriminating, even without his planted evidence.
Okay, you'll have to give me a notice roll as you search through. Man, you're 3 and 3. You gonna leave it or spend your last penny? Oh, are you just seeing if you have a adventure card?
Yeah.
I think I was going to reset those, but I don't remember if I remembered that or not. I'll reset them
I
for
definitely
next time.
have one of the same ones. Yeah.
But I like my cards.
Yeah, we should refresh though. Love interest is still hilarious.
I will, instead of refreshing them completely, I will let you keep the ones you might want to keep. And if people want to give I imagine Montre doesn't want the love interest thing.
I'll trade you a card for that one.
The character doesn't want it, but I want to keep it because it's hilarious. But yeah, I definitely want to keep second wind. The whole like I can get my ass beat up and then just bloop. No, I'm not.
If you can't see yourself using that love interest card, I'll trade you for it.
Sure.
Benny, and just abandon that idea.
Okay.
The briefcase they brought has the planted evidence, I assume.
Yep. Usually leave in the suitcase or just open it up so that way you can plant it somewhere good.
I'm taking and opening it up to look at it
So essentially inside there's what looks to be falsified documents of different bribes and lobbying letters to the commissioner to do what he needs to do, whatever he's being proclaimed to do, which these are top-notch forgeries. Should do some damage, at least maybe hurt his reputation to get him out of town, or to persuade him to not, go after the mafia. Give me one more notice roll. 8. Okay, yeah, that's a success with a raise. As you're searching through, you start hearing footsteps coming in from probably the next apartment over, and eventually the main hallway of the floor you're on, start heading to your door.
All right. I'm going to try and do it as quickly as I can. Open up the briefcase, leave it on like top of a desk with a couple papers strewn about, like kind of looking like, oh, someone's been, maybe not someone like has been rooting through the apartment, but he's been looking through this. He's been trying to make it look like he's left it and he's just,
Okay.
The owner left this and didn't expect anyone to come in and see. So someone might accidentally look if they're coming in. And then I'm going to go and try and hide on the fire escape.
Plant the evidence where you need to plant it, where you expect to plant it. You know the ropes, you know what you do it. After you get that done, you start heading out to where the outside door is. As you get into the fire escape to kind of hide, you start hearing essentially someone climbing up the stairs of the fire escape towards your direction.
Well, I guess I'm going up even higher, going straight towards the roof.
Okay.
Stealthily, of course.
Stealthily? Okay. Roll your stealth. Don't get a critical failure. I know you're gold. Look at that, 11. Yeah. So you usually make your way up to the very top of the roof, which is only a couple stories up from where you already are. As you're going up, you don't notice the steps getting any faster climbing up the stairs. You do hear maybe some shoutings coming from the apartment that you were in, but nothing like very immediately like they're on you at all. So you make it to the roof. You can see where there is the roof access door. There's also another fire escape on the other side of the building that you can take if you want.
That's a damn shame because I was really about to jump to another building's fire escape.
You can, if you want, you can risk it for the biscuit and go jump to another building.
Oh no, there's no reason to if there is another fire escape. It only makes sense if there's not another fire escape. But now he'll start going on the other fire escape.
It's just a failure would have just mean you immediately die 7 stories high. Well, maybe not a regular failure, but a critical failure, yeah, you'd just be dead. All right, you're going to go down that fire escape, or you want to go down through the main stairway?
He'll go down the fire escape this time.
Okay. All right, then, yeah, you can do that. There's no one blocking that path. This one you're going up. As you sneak around the building, you do notice there's a couple of guys that seem to be advanced into, the apartment that you were just at. They seem to be searching. You don't know. You can't tell what exactly they're searching for, but maybe for you, maybe not. It's hard to say. All right, you technically did your job. You can just simply report back to your old boss. He'll give you your payment. In this case, it'd be your wealth die or whatever. We'll go up a step. Or you can do whatever else you want.
Yeah, no, he seems... no, he'll go back to the boss, but he'll also let you try and ask him about what those other people might have been there. He might have an idea.
So you say that there was people coming into the same apartment as you?
Came in right after me. They were looking around, shouting, looking for something.
Hmm.
Couldn't recognize them. Hadn't been here long enough to, but
That's interesting. What if we got a rat in our midst, and what if they were cops trying to get you doing something you weren't supposed to?
could be. Could also mean that whatever I planted isn't going to go anywhere if they are. And stay around a couple more days, see if everything goes well.
They didn't catch you at all?
Not even a scrap of me.
Did you leave the briefcase behind? Did you take that with you?
Left it.
I guess we'll see what happens. Good work, as per usual.
Of course. Hopefully we get what we wanted.
Okay. Do you hang out to Speakeasy for a while, or do you kind of just stay away from it just for a bit?
Considering he mentioned possible rat, he'll stay away, coming back maybe once every couple nights.
Sounds good. Which is a safe bet, because after a couple days, the Speakeasy does get raided by the police. Reports say that the boss is looking for pretty much to find whoever could have been the rat, with only a couple names in his head. That could be it. That's about it for now.
All right. Well, he's completed his job and he doesn't want to get caught. So, yeah, Harlen's planning his return home.
All right. I think next up is either Cotton or AP. We'll go with Cotton. If Cotton is ready. Okay. Did you want to take the internship that Carl set up for you for Cueva to...
Sure. But I have no idea what you were talking about, what we did to Cueva.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. You weren't here because of child. Okay. So essentially, after the primary part of the interview, Sean Dublin took some bread and soaked it with, I believe it was heroin, right?
That sounds right.
So Dublin set up a interview for his paper, essentially with Dr. Cueva to get some questions, do an article, and then drugged him to get him to confess. Essentially, part of it, he did actually confess about essentially selling out to the investors, thus making your father a hack, and so on and so forth. From there, wasn't really able to get much else incriminating about him, as whatever else that he's done hasn't really felt like that it was too evil, so to speak. Just mainly part of his job, but he's there to please the investors, and what he doesn't please the investors. Though some people do suffer from the midst of it. He does pay decently, but his methods may not be the most clean. So Carl, in the midst, during his flying around of Dr. Cueva, he did manage to set up a deal with him to get pretty much an internship process with him so that we can get closer.
Get you into his operations so you can blow it up from the inside.
Harlen did take some documents from Cueva. They were mainly nothing really like dirty that you could use as dirt, but mainly just insight of there. Essentially, his investors told him to go to that area, find some ruins. There's supposed to be what was essentially of a tomb of the older civilization with even the Incans that were there, which is the same reason why you were there, because you knew about it. But yeah, you do have a chance to take the internship to get closer to Cueva if you'd like. You said sure? Okay, you said yeah. You didn't come in through the mic, so I just want to confirm. So your pay is not that great because you are an intern. You probably get whatever the bare minimum you can get away with. You're not really worried about that. You're not there for the money. You're there for the getting closer. Essentially, what you're mainly able to glean from him, he's not as good as he used to be like he was with your father. He has mainly become complacent in his fame and richdom. That's not a word. I know that's not a word. It felt right, but it also feels wrong at the same time.
Richdom?
Yeah. He does know how to find the places. It's just that he mainly uses his wallet to help find it, rather than him putting his nose to the dirt and finding it himself. So what I can offer you is that if you're wanting to essentially dig into his office to maybe find some more incriminating or more information on who might be working with, because you do suspect that he's working for somebody consistently. Huh? Oh, I guess you had to leave. Must be to get the daughter. She's not going to bed. Well, maybe I should start with AP. Well, Sean, what would Sean be doing for the next, essentially upwards to Christmas time?
Let's see here. And you're saying Christmas 1935, right?
Yeah.
I think that we find Sean, it's mid-December. He is walking out of a movie theater where he's just watched Scrooge, which is all talking full length feature film version of The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Right.
He is, I'm doing this not to troll Cotton, but also partly to troll Cotton. He is in a new outfit. He's wearing British Navy Class 2s, but it has no unit insignia or any insignia whatsoever. He has on his left arm a band wrapped around it that says press, and on the right arm he has a black mourning ribbon around it because he has spent the last few months helping arrange the funeral of his father, and this is the first time he's been back in England in a little while. He looks a very changed man, not the least of which is because he currently has pneumonia, which in no way is because I currently have a cold, in order to make my Irish voice acting correct. He has a silvered cross around his neck, which we haven't seen before, that it looks a little odd. The ends of the cross are kind of Eastern Orthodox. They kind of splay out into like a V rather than just ending on a rounded point of some kind. And he has a messenger bag rather than just like the little sash thing he used to keep around his kilt. And it looks like it's kind of like full of stuff. He doesn't make any pretense of being a soldier because, of course, he's not. He's a war correspondent during a time where there is no war. But he is a researcher. He is an investigator. He is a reporter. And he's using this opportunity in this cold, snowy day in London to just observe how the people about him are going about their lives. There's all kinds of talk around him about the Second London Naval Treaty being signed soon, which is a big deal for securing British supremacy around the world. There's talk about the Olympics. There's talk about these Olympics will be the first ones ever broadcasted over television, which is going to be crazy. Some of the more learned people around him coming out of the theater are discussing the neutron, which has been discovered for the first time and confirmed. Which is apparently some cool part of subatomic structure. And he looks sad coming out of Scrooge, which I feel like perhaps might be an appropriate feeling for coming out of Scrooge. And just kind of looks around and thinks about how all his friends are somewhere else. They're all off doing things. And here he is, a short drive away from the base, alone, spending time with Bates and his butler. That, just to be clear, Bates' butler, not Sean's butler.
Yeah. So
kind of not the best Christmas he's ever had. You tell me if anything else happens to Sean Dublin, preferably something super duper sad.
So what does Sean know about his father's death?
I think his father's death was just, like his heart attack, cardiac arrest.
Okay.
It's hard work running the farm.
Of course.
Yeah. And it wasn't a young man. I mean, Sean's not particularly young anymore now, and his father certainly was quite a bit older than he was.
So I'll do this. Because you did take the background for the ungifted, the faith, background arcane faith.
Yeah, the miracles.
Yeah, miracles. Which you don't have the faith skill yet. You're getting that soon.
I think what is supposed to happen is that when you take an arcane skill, it does unlock. I mean, it says you start with the stat, but I would assume that it starts at 1d4 minus 2, like literally as low as you can get.
That's what I was getting at.
That's too dangerous for me to try to roll.
I'm going to
wait until I can bump that up to 1d4 before I try to do any miracles.
Yeah, I'm going to make you.
Oh, go ahead.
I will like for you to make a 1d4 minus 2. But it's the untrained skill roll, essentially.
Jeez Louise. And what? Hope I hit a 4? Well, how about that, Pondo?
Yep.
Absolutely fucked.
You also
for the folks at home that are listening and not watching.
You still have to roll the second die for that. Then you have to roll your wild die.
All right, well.
So 3.
Sure. But you know what? It isn't. It's not a 1 on that first die,
Oh, you
which
rolled
is
a
what I was
6.
worried about.
You need to roll another
Isn't
D4.
that what the wild die is a D6?
Yeah, but you need to roll no D4 because you hit the 4 on a D4, so it explodes.
Oh, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
Hey, you got it. So, wait, yep, 4 plus
Yeah, 2 plus 3
5.
is
Okay,
5.
you got a 5.
Yeah.
Math was not mathing. You don't know what, but there's something in your gut feeling that it wasn't really a heart attack that got your father.
Now, I'm going to say this so that the folks at home understand. I made that my father died of a heart attack thing up. Pondo and I have not discussed this at all.
No.
So he has just thickened this plot by stirring it around. I'm writing this down. So I have an act of faith that it wasn't a heart attack that killed my father.
Yep. You don't know what it is, but you know it's not a heart attack.
I think he's been standing in front of the theater for some time, and it's late enough that everything is dark and it's just like street lamps now.
Mhm.
And enough snow has gathered that it's actually like his feet are lower than the snow level. And he starts when he realizes that his right hand is wrapped around the cross, and he just thinks he heard his father's voice warning him that something wasn't right. And he just mutters to himself, yes, of course. And he starts to make his way back. He waves for his driver, Julius Caesar. You didn't think this was going to be a Sean Dublin non-comedy scene, did you? Just because he's sad and his dad just died and it's snowing and he's alone on Christmas doesn't mean I'm not going to have a buddy comedy moment with the Caesar.
So when you make it back to the car, it's been more scratched up than when you first got it. Call it growing scratches.
Sure.
Wait, is this the Dingo or is it the?
Oh, this is just a regular ass car.
Regular car.
This is,
Yeah, it's,
you know, yeah.
It's got a fair amount of scratches and dings to it.
I take a look over it as I get into the back seat, and I just say, "Well, Jules, Irishly, very Irishly. As a reminder, my character is Irish, and he speaks Irishly. I'm gonna have to talk to my friend Henry. You're real brutal on these cars, but you know, considering you're a man literally out of time, you're not doing that bad, honestly. Better than some of those, Scots up north. Seen some real crazy shit."
Of course. It's definitely a learning experience rather than riding a horse. I think I'd prefer to just ride a horse than this.
Okay.
Really, a war wagon would be
say
better.
that the military police still love using horses. You know, cavalry's still a big thing, even though we've got the machine gun.
So how was your moving painting thing?
Well, I'd already read A Christmas Carol, but, I think these movings are doing pretty well.
Indeed.
It's a big deal. You have to understand they didn't used to have sound, not in the way that they do now. It's immersive.
What, do they have people shouting in the theater?
Oh, they used to have a in-theater orchestra, and during the scene would happen silently, and then after the scene happened, like 5 to 10 seconds of a scene, you'd see people talking, but you couldn't hear anything, and then text would appear on the screen telling you what they said.
So is it multiple people making these different paintings to put into the thing? Is that way you can see it, or no?
No, yes, that's how it works.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I mean, there's the actors, there's the director, there's producers, there's the guy who holds the boom. Just to be clear, these paintings, you know what? You still don't understand how pictures work, do you? Daguerreotype.
No, I know paintings.
Yeah, sure. We're gonna go make this happen.
There's far less nudity nowadays, I've noticed.
I mean, you have to understand this is Britain.
I don't understand. That's the thing. I'm not from here.
We conquered the entire world to get their spices to sell to other people, and we make food that is a meat, a sauce, and a vegetable, and all of it is brown colored. We are our women are known for being cold, which is not an attribute that you would normally want to broadcast to others when you talk about your culture as women. It's just different.
You're speaking in a figurative sense, not a literal sense, I'm assuming.
Emotionally cold and distant.
Yes, figurative. Okay. I understand that. I understand the spices. The Well, the last time I was aware of anything, there was a man named Jesus causing problems all sorts of places near the Middle Eastern area or Southern area. I don't remember exactly where. Location was relative to whatever instance I was.
I mean, weren't you dead like 50 years before Jesus was running around and doing stuff?
Maybe. I don't recall. I could have sworn he was dead 400 years.
Wait, stop the car for a second.
Yes.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You're Julius Caesar, who lived in a time before Christ, and you're saying Jesus lived in the same time period as you.
I was that statue you saw on. I assume you saw it.
Oh, are
No.
you saying people woke you up during what one might call the Pontius Pilate crisis, when Jesus was getting too powerful?
Yes.
Because he was very popular.
So the best I can, and I had the doctor explain it to me. The knife I was stabbed with sucked my soul into it, and then which they took that knife, had a special place made for me to go into, that they would put my soul into on occasion to ask for insight and advice on certain situations that they would up me. There's been inflation crises, the Christianity crisis. That was the last I knew about it. Then the last thing I knew was being woke up in that one tomb back in, I think it was Peru, is what I was told.
Sure.
And now I'm here as a caddy, or a, what'd you call me? It doesn't matter.
Jules, I haven't assigned you any. I certainly haven't called you a caddy. I wanted you to come in and watch the movie, but you told me you've already seen paintings before. Let me tell you something, Julius. Spices have come a long way since your time. There's this one spice that only grows on a very small band of the world. All right. It is a tropical fruit. You can only use about 5% of the fruit. And it has become so prolific, everyone in the world refers to the spice as bland, despite the fact it has quite a mild, pleasant taste. And making it is extremely expensive. And it's incredible that it's taken off.
Wouldn't mild equate to being bland?
It's not, though. It's very pleasant.
I'll take your word for it. I don't really have taste nowadays, in a quite literal sense, not a figurative one.
Yeah,
obviously.
no, I get it. You don't have any biological parts. Yeah, I get it.
It was sad when I couldn't put things in my mouth because I don't have a mouth.
What do you want to do, Jules? You know?
Yeah. Where to now?
No, I want to know what you want to do, man. Like, I'm hanging out with you and you're driving this car. I want to encourage you to understand mechanical things, of course. You seem extremely interested. And honestly, if we don't get you hooked up with these mechanical things, I'm worried you're going to destroy the plane. So, I've really encouraged this behavior from you. But, like, you're a guy that really lived a whole life. You had, like, 5 wives and you were banging Cleopatra. Like, that must have been exhausting. Like, what do you even do in retirement now? Like, you're not our slave. We don't own you. What do you want to do, man?
I have no idea. I've been stuck to a wall for
that's what I'm
feels
saying.
like more of my life.
I think we should get a photograph of you so that you understand the difference between a painting and a daguerreotype. All right. There's this one young woman, the Grand Duchess Anastasia. She came up with this really cool idea of taking a photo of yourself at short range. It's crazy. They call it a selfie.
A selfie?
That's real, Kain. That's real. Grand Duchess Anastasia of Russia, the same Anastasia that you're thinking of when I say the word Anastasia, is the first person in history to take a selfie. That's real. Look it up.
God, now I gotta look
I
it
think
up.
I will.
It's real.
First person to take a selfie. Well, this one says Robert Cornelius in 1839. Of course, that was the first thing that showed up on Google. So, and that was also Fox News. So I'll take that with a grain of salt. Okay, so with the information you know that you have that good solid feeling that your father didn't actually die from a heart attack. Do you want to do anything with that for now?
You really don't want me to know about Julius Caesar, do you? You're really just gonna walk away from me trying to be friends with this guy. All right, Pondo.
There's
Go
plenty
ahead.
of times to be a friend with Julius Caesar. You can tag him along to all your adventures you'd
All
like.
right. We'll see.
What are you wanting to know about Julius other than...
I mean, I'm worried that the man might turn out to be our enemy. I just want to know, like, I don't want to treat him like he's some sort of servant or slave, to be very clear. I just want to know what he's about, you know? He's working for us for reasons that aren't super clear to me, just because we saved him. That doesn't mean he's always going to be working for us and that he'll always agree with us. I want to know more about him. But if you're telling me I should concentrate on following the lead that my father did not die a non-murdering death, then I guess I'm catching a ferry to Liverpool.
Okay. So I'll briefly summarize essentially Julius's feelings at the moment. He's at a point of a life of new experiences, getting his legs back, being in a completely different time than what he was used to. Not really sure what direction to take, nowhere to go. He doesn't seem like he's, what's the word, anchored to the lodge and everybody there. Obviously, he took the help, as in he kind of needs to get back on his feet, so to speak. More of be able to take in things for a bit before he makes any other decisions on what to do.
Sure. I understand not being anchored to the lodge, because I'm not either. But
yeah,
I am very concerned about his motives.
Yeah. I mean, his motive, he doesn't really have anything other than this fancy body that he's attached to, that he's slowly learning on how it operates, essentially. He doesn't have an empire anymore. That's long gone. You can't just go up to random people and say, hey, I'm Julius Caesar. I own this place now. Because A, they wouldn't believe him, and B, his body is of a different value, and he realizes that. So, yes, understandable that you're worried of this could be bad if he betrays us, but he's also not nearly at that point at all.
While the two of us are waiting for our tickets to go from London to Liverpool so that I can catch another ferry to Dublin, I'm actually going to stop. We're going to do it on the ferry, actually. We're going full on Loki season 2. We're just going to have a scene on a ferry. And as we're passing the Isle of Wight, I'm just going to be like, hey, man, may I ask you a question? You seem like a kind of guy who likes boasting. Like, there is that legitimately confirmed story of that time you were kidnapped and you told your kidnappers that you were going to absolutely murder them. And then they traded you back and then you had them all brutally murdered.
Yes.
Yeah. So look, let me posit something to you. You seem like, let me just throw this out here, someone who likes talking about himself and all the stuff you did. You know, you're saying you can't go up to people and say that you're Julius Caesar, right?
Yes.
What if you could?
Well, they gave me the same expressions that you all gave me when I first said that.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder and I'm going to gesture out towards the ocean. It's a big world now, and we've developed a lot culturally, and there's something we do now called historical reenactment, where people who are actors, who are also historians that are knowledgeable in an event, will perform actions of that time period to explain to people of our time period how things happened back then. Like recreating a period village from the 500s so that people can see how their ancestors in England lived 1,500 years ago.
I see.
What if you were a historical reenactor of Julius Caesar? You would be extremely good at explaining the politics and the culture of the time period, because for you, they just happened.
Would he want to pretend to be someone who pretends to be himself?
But he can just say, I am Julius Caesar, and everyone will clap, and there will be no lies.
I'm just a dude playing another dude playing myself.
Guys, work with me here, okay? I'm trying to give this man purpose and direction while also being extremely funny, all right? This is yet another crazy AP Gaming Real plan, dedicated on the fly.
Well, I see where you're getting at.
I don't need an answer now. Just think about it. Okay. There's a lot you could do in your life, right? One thing you could do is teach people about yourself and about the empire you created. It would be a way of keeping your own legacy alive. Just a thought,
Okay.
Maybe you could become a mechanic. You seem to like looking at mechanical stuff,
That's just fascinating.
I don't know. Well, I don't think they're going to let us in this ferry's engine room, but I can go buy a ferry when we get back, and we'll let you take a look at the engine.
What stopped me from going into the engine room?
They don't like people going to the engine room on an operating ferry.
I don't like it on most vehicles.
I want to take it that means I can't just throw the people out and just go in anyway.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Because it's not our ferry.
That's not a cultural thing. I feel like he should know that already.
I'm trying to get used to the aspect of I can't get away with what I want, whatever I want to do. So
I mean, I feel like you're really overplaying that, but you used to be part of the triumvirate.
nice.
Yeah, you weren't always the sole ruler, the dictator of Rome.
I don't know. Brutus has some pretty convincing propaganda otherwise.
Well, Brutus isn't here to defend himself. Jules, please don't go into the engine room on this active boat. I swear I will buy you a ferry when we get home. And you can take a look at the engine and that. In fact, we may not even buy the ferry. We may just buy the ferry engine so that you can take a look at it. These things are beasts.
I don't need that. That's I can quell my curiosity. It's there, but I can quell it good enough.
I guess. I mean, listen, I don't understand how you work right now. I don't understand how the machinery works. I don't understand this magic stuff. That's not me. I believe in a land of science, and it's been real tough doing this. So if you need something to help you, I understand what it means to not get a thing and need somebody else to help you with it. Because I still don't get all this magic stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're curious about how some of the machinations I work, I can explain what I do know based on what I know about the knife.
Okay, sure. What do you got?
So essentially, through this port, you can put the knife. He opens up his port that essentially is like access to his heart. And what that knife does is transfer a soul that is sucked out from another person and puts it into this cases. It's where the soul kind of floats around and goes into the various pipes, workings and whatnot, and works as veins, muscles, etc., etc., etc.
Sure. Who made the knife?
From what I understand, it's a holdover from an old ancient organization. When Brutus Stat put me into the wall there, he didn't explain much further into it other than it was a part of the society that was there before. That said,
sure. That's the thing that concerns me, though, right? Is that our technology has advanced, but our understanding of magic has clearly regressed to almost nothing.
Well, in your defense, knowledge of magic was only theoretical still, not nearly out in the open. Apparently, it was something that was still kept a deeper secret even back hundreds of years ago. Now, I can say that although it may seem this body is, well, never ending until the parts go out, I do feel my soul being eaten little by little.
That's disturbing. Have you talked to Montre about that?
I cannot. I figured that he just had the same thing going on. Though it could be the fact that I'm more new to it. He might be more used to it. Had he not complained about it?
I do not recall Montre ever saying anything about it.
Interesting.
Montre and I don't get along that well, honestly. We did have this one whole scene where like we went on a drive and I arranged for us to be attacked by hooligans, but the hooligans were actually removed from the picture and we were attacked by real thugs sent by a man named Ruslan Omer.
I see.
Yeah, it became a whole comedy thing, but then it got really dark.
Why? Because you would have killed the hooligans?
I mean, we were legit. I mean, yeah, sure, but we were legitimately being chased. Our lives were actually in danger.
Oh, I was figuring that the lack of bonding between you and Montre was due to him being literally the essence of soldier mind first. What needs to be done, and then everything else second. And
I'm
you're
not going to speak for Montre.
An eccentric, wealthy, noble-ish type man.
There's no noble-ishness. It's literal.
Okay, but you get my picture.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, man. I'm actually really curious.
Go on.
You kind of unlived during the time of Jesus of Nazareth. Did you people think that he was the Son of God, like the Christian God? Well, I guess for you it would be the Jewish God.
Yes, it would be. It was the Jewish God.
So you and the forces that were containing you within the knife believe that he was the real son of the Jewish God, and that he had to be stopped because of his powers, not just because he was like a popular guy.
So I didn't know anything about the powers at the time. I only knew that the effect that his charismatic nature was changing the minds of the masses, essentially. Proclaiming to make these act of miracles. Up until, well, I guess I knew the magic existed, but I didn't know what extent it existed. I knew I was still kept alive somehow through, well, essence of my soul. So I did believe that these miracles could exist, but I also was skeptical just due to the nature. Really, my mind went into this sounds of a rebellion rebellion moment. So you must kill the leader quietly or else make a martyr, which it appears that they made a martyr. I unfortunately don't have the answer to your question about this Jesus Christ.
No, it's okay. I guess we'll have to take it on faith.
I'm getting this vibe that there should be a yeah with sunglasses going under your face. Very CSI Miami.
I mean, I thought it was a pretty clever line, but, you know, I was the one who said it, so. I go to Dublin because now, just like CSI Miami, I have to find a killer.
At least get some information on what the killer could be.
Heart disease.
But it's not. Okay. Would your father be cremated or buried?
Oh, we're Irish. I mean, he definitely was. He was buried, and there was a huge wake.
So, I mean, what you can do is you can either dig up the body or look through the records of the autopsy and everything.
Wow, this is really dark.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I need to get permission to dig up my father's body.
I mean, it wouldn't be difficult for you.
I think I need both secular and non-secular permission in this case.
You have the money and the influence. Now, granted, it wouldn't be morally right.
Hey, Pondo, let me ask you a question. Explain to me what's morally wrong about investigating your father's murder. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. All right,
yeah.
So I will indeed. I'll keep it quiet. You know, it's not like I'm going to my mom and being like, "All right, I'm going to dig Dad up." It's real middle of the night. A fat stack of cash to a grave digger to look the other way, and in this case, do the actual digging.
Yep. So once you get the body out and get it to a place where you can further observe it, obviously it has decayed and necrosis has settled in somewhat, but I'll have you give me a research roll.
Oh, the thing I'm really good at.
Yeah.
Do I get my bonus for being a researcher to this? I don't know that it technically applies.
I will say yes, because you would be probably referencing notes about the heart disease, heart attack, stuff like that.
Sure. We all know about heart disease. So I get a +2.
9. Oh, 11. Sorry. Forgot about the +2. Yeah. Okay. So as you dig into your father respectfully, you do notice that there are definitely signs that it could lead to being a heart attack or heart disease of some form, but you do notice it's not quite the same. There's a little bit different looks to it, as in the veins have around the heart and of the heart have blackened to almost like a ink or, well, inkish black sludge like look.
Now, I specifically had the occult library unlocked, and I specifically have been investigating weird occult stuff. So I just want to ask, do I bestiary anything from this? Like, oh, this was definitely Ruslan Omer, the vampiring.
Yes, it does point to definitely something magical, something supernatural has caused this heart to, well, essentially go through super necrosis.
But do I specifically get sent a note of vampire in the floral bouquet?
Vampires are known to be able to do this. There are also some other beings of dark magic that are able to do this, but amongst the ones that you know that you would suspect, it would probably be a vampire. And there has been a vampire that you have fucked with recently that might be upset.
Sure.
How he did it is hard to exactly tell where it went through, because there's no other signs, like he didn't bite your father's neck to kill him or anything like that.
How sure am I of this? Like, I don't need to be able to take and record or anything, but like, I would hate to accidentally kill Ruslan Omer for killing my father.
So,
if I had a percentage of confidence level,
your gut feeling is yes, it's Ruslan Omer, but the issue is how you're going to prove that he could have done this.
Okay, I don't need to do that though.
Okay.
I only need to prove it to myself.
You're very confident, probably at least 80 to 90%.
As we are standing in the graveyard in the middle of the night, torch flickering, and that torch, I don't mean like a flame torch, I mean flashlight. But because we're in the United Kingdom, I'm saying torch. Also, my character's Irish. it starts storming rain, and it's just a sad-looking Sean Dublin standing over his dead father's body with a robot Julius Caesar and a random gravedigger nearby as he clenches his hand in anger, and he looks down and he says, "This is it. This is the moment that I decided I was going to kill Ruslan Omer." And he pulls a little, it's a Christian tradition called an icon. It's just a picture of a saint, and he pulls a picture of a saint out of his little pack, and he just says, "I'm going to need your help, ma'am. I'm going to need a lot of help." And then he puts it back and begins to bury his father a second time. Lightning crackles across the dark sky as we just see tears mixed in the rain.
All right. I guess now we cut back to Cotton Effie, who got reinterrupted before.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're going from this pretty high drama back to an internship.
I mean, the internship has high drama behind its methods, so she is also going after the person that had essentially killed her dad, though less directly. So, Effie.
Yeah?
What would you like to do to try to essentially get more information out of this guy or get information from him?
Didn't you say I was able to go through his office?
Yes. I think I forgot from missing there. But you can go through his office. You can do essentially a research role to search through his stuff, find some stuff that might be good. What'd you say?
I'll try and search through his stuff.
Okay. Oh, a 9. Okay. All right. So from what it looks like, after searching through quite a bit of stuff, there is definitely a singular benefactor that's been sponsoring him for quite some time, at least maybe a year or two now. They don't have a full name, unfortunately. They've mostly been put under the moniker of the Count, and their location is, they seem to be originally from what looks to be Austria. There also been some ties to an informant. That informant was mainly the one that was essentially what gave him the lead to go to Peru to find the one tomb that you guys were at. The informant was part of the same search party that Dr. LaRue was on, which found Montre.
Say who the informant was.
Jim Gallagher. You're also able to find some of the notes and conversation that Dr. Ignacio has kept of discussion between your father and him, mainly talking about the what to do with the artifact they found back in, oh boy, what was it? I'll have to look back up where the exact location where that artifact was. Essentially, whether to keep it to where it was found in the country that was found in, or take it back to Europe, where a rich noble wants to keep it as a knick-knack to put it on their mantle so they can gloat about it where their guests were. To which your father was more keen to keeping it in the country, while Dr. Ignacio was more keen to pleasing the sponsors and getting money.
I'll just pocket them.
Okay. Now, how are you attitude-wise while you're in the presence of the man that killed your father?
Very quiet.
Very quiet. Okay. Not spouting your name. Kill my father, prepare to die.
That would be a bad idea.
Okay. Sure. Is there anything else while you're doing the internship? Sabotage? Network?
Yes, you could try to network.
Okay. Give me a persuasion then. You want to roll a Benny? Or use a Benny? First was 2 and 2. 2 and 2. What'd you say?
Said it's fine.
Okay. You're not quite able to get along. I think something rubs you the wrong way, as everybody else seems to be buddy-buddy with the doctor, despite the doctor having a somewhat abrasive personality of his own, as the fame and richdom has gotten to his head. Yeah. One night, while you are reading your book, you do notice that there's a section of the book that starts to glow, allowing you to be able to read it easier without heavy translation. It just gives a ominous, I'd say riddle, but ominous verse of should return home to where the sea lies.
The book says?
Yeah, that's what the verse of the book says. Okay. Well, that's, I think, all I got for now. Next time we'll push into essentially the January of 1936.
Very interesting.
1936
is going to be a hectic year. Spoiler alert.